Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another vloggy vlog. On this one, we're just gonna talk about my Monster 620. I'm gonna go through a couple of things and discuss a couple of things about my ownership and just my general thoughts about the bike after I've had it for now 13 years. So I bought this bike 12 years ago. It's a 2006 Monster 620 and it had 1,400 miles on it. It was pristine. It looked like new. It did not look like this. It had zero damage, zero rust, zero abuse. It was the person who owned it was this female corrections officer who lived in Worcester, Massachusetts. So I actually went out there, rented a U-Haul, brought it back to Brooklyn, and this is my very first bike. The bike has about 66,000 miles on it now that I've put on all myself, except for the 1,400 miles it started with. The speedo actually only shows, let's see, like 62,000 something, right? Obviously, the maintenance light is on, and let's see, 62,287. But yeah, my dashboard actually died. I had a crack in the dashboard, moisture got into it, and eventually the dashboard got completely fried. It was like going crazy, and for about a year, so for about 3, 5, whatever, 8,000, 6,000 miles, 4,000 miles, who knows, I did not have a working dash, so I did not record the miles. So it's easy to say that this bike has about 65,000 miles on it now. It came completely stock when I got it. And ever since then, I did a bunch of mods. So I'm just going to walk you through the mods that I did. Obviously, I did all the slide protection, Evotech front, back. I did not do the spools in the back. I did the frame sliders and the front spools. That's what I meant. Sorry. Then I put on the Mivv exhausts, the Ducati. I also put on this Motodemic headlight, which is amazing because the stock headlight is total trash. Then I've put on the adjustable Monster S1000, S2R1000 forks. So they're fully adjustable because the front was total garbage. And this is not the dark version of the bike. This is the regular version, as you could tell by the double Brembos and the shiny paint job. Double Brembos in the front. I've also replaced the rear shock. I've obviously did the tail chop, removed the cowl, changed the mirrors, levers, all sorts of things over the years. And I've never had real issues with it, as far as like debilitating, like breakdown in the middle of nowhere situation. I've had a bunch of issues, as you could see by all the vlogs, as you could see by all the how-tos. I've obviously had a bunch of issues, and I did a tail tidy light as well. But it was all sorts of like little things. It was like little timing sensor, or I don't know, speed sensor, temperature sensor, and all those things are hilarious. Oh yeah, I also changed the turn signals in the front here for Oberons. These are nice, and Bridgestone tires all day, every day. But like all of those issues were simple and tiny. And the thing about this bike, a lot of the parts are, because this is a parts bin special bike, right? So a lot of the parts are actually super cheap because they're available for 12 different models and 20 different years, and B, some of the parts are actually, it's possible to get them from a car, literally from like Fiat, Fords, whatever the hell. But yeah, because it's like the speed sensor, or one of the, yeah, this right here, the fuck is this? I don't even know what the fuck that is. It looks like a USB. But yeah, this right here. Yeah, that's it. I'm so stupid. But this right here, this is like some sort of a sensor that I put in. Is it like overheating? Why is it white? I have no idea. So yeah, a lot of sensors and a lot of things had to be replaced over time. And I was gonna say, I think a lot of it is probably my fault, because when I first got the bike, I did not really know how to maintain it. I did not really like clean it properly. I did do all the major services, because this is one of those bikes that unfortunately has a very short major service. The valve checks are every 6,000 miles, which is insane compared to my new Monster, the 937, where the Desmo major service is actually every 18,000 miles. So here it's kind of wild. It's every 6,000 miles you got to do a major service, which, if you don't know how, it's a cool 800 to a G around here in New York City. I've dropped the bike a couple of times, like probably 2 or 3 times in parking situations, maybe 4 times. And then I've actually I crashed. I got hit by a taxi cab. That was a real crash, my only real crash. I was going about 40, and unfortunately I was speeding a little bit. Taxi cab ran a stop sign, and boink, and I had to layer down grass clippings. Had to layer down, but you see, you can actually still tell that my front spool here took some damage, but it's okay. Yeah, and the exhaust right here also took some damage, but it's fine. And I've been meaning to, see, this whole thing, actually, when I crashed, this whole thing shattered, like fell off, like this whole thing. So I had to replace all of that, but, it's all part of the fun. And same with this, like when the dial burnt out, I actually had to buy a whole new dial and send it in to a company, I forgot, in California somewhere or something, where they had to connect it to my ECU. They had to like pair it with the key and everything, because there's like this tricky immobilizer bullshit that is actually very notorious for giving people problems with this bike. Then one of the biggest pain in the asses that I've had was the fuel wiring bung. Basically, under the gas tank, there's a bunch of wires that go into the gas tank to go to the fuel pump and whatever. And the epoxy started crumbling, and the gas basically started dripping out of the tank, A, and B, created shorts where literally the bike wouldn't start, and I would like have to like sit on it, and I didn't realize it, so I would like rock it back and forth and all sorts of shit. I didn't realize that the epoxy is screwed. But I had to fix it once, then it failed again. And the second time, I actually sent it out to my buddy Tyler in Northern Motorcycles. I think he's in Scotland now, or UK somewhere. I'm totally butchering this. But yeah, and he replaced it, so that was fine. But overall, I mean, really, obviously, I've done numerous oil changes, because I change the oil every like 3,000 to 4,000 miles. I've done dozens of oil changes. I've done tire changes. I prefer the Bridgestones just because I do a lot of touring, a lot of long distance riding, so that's why I run these Bridgestone T32s battle axis. Moto Camping Club, obviously, of course, we're still recording. That's fantastic. So what else can I tell you about this bike? The fuel efficiency is pretty damn good. You can get good 150 miles to the tank on this baby. It's plenty fast. It's super light. It's way under 400 pounds. I bought this bike for $3,900, right, with 1,400 miles. Right now, I would imagine this bike is worth, I don't know, $1,000, maybe $2. But if this is my very first bike, and as a very first bike, it's legitimate. It's freaking awesome. Like, I couldn't recommend it more. I'm so happy I got this instead of, because I mean, there's nothing wrong with like SV650s and this and that, because obviously this one ended up costing me a little bit more money than you would with like a Japanese bike, just because the electronics, like I mentioned, all these sensors, they were like $20 here, $30 there, and then like the Desmo services, it all adds up. Like, and if you're not in love with it, if this is not a product of love, then like if you're gonna get frustrated every time your Italian bike has an issue, then this is not the bike for you. Then I've also like dropped this bike into the bushes. I've also dropped it to another bush. I actually rode around the city with a ZDF programmer, and the guy was big. The guy was bigger. He was like 200 plus pounds, and we rode around lane splitting, so that's fine. The bike can handle it. The bike can really, really handle it. It does overheat. It does get crazy. There was a few times where I was like, on a hot day in the middle of nowhere, gunning it. Like if you're going like 75 miles per hour for an hour straight, this bike will overheat and be like 260 degrees, and you better pull over and, you know, let her cool down for a minute, because otherwise you will lose it. And I connected the quad lock. Obviously I have wireless charging thing here, which is kind of nice, which is kind of dope. And what else can I tell you? Replaced brake pads. I've replaced no issues with the calipers. The calipers are fine. And yeah, super simple bike. Everything is exposed, everything is showing, everything is simple. This right here, oh, I think I fixed it, because yeah, the throttle was sticking a little bit, so that's cool. See what else we got. See what else I can tell you about this bike. No, I recommend it. We have a person coming. They are gonna be making fun of me, which is totally okay. I don't mind. So one thing I do plan on doing is actually possibly rebuilding this bike. I bought a new motor for it. I bought a 2006 as well, Monster 620 motor with only like 3,000 miles, and it's perfectly clean and perfect. And I bought a new wiring harness, just because over time this wiring harness, as you could tell, it's like fraying everywhere. It's basically has seen better days, and yeah, there's some things we could do to help this bike along, and that's what I plan on doing. Look at that. The tank is obviously expanding, so the seat is actually rubbing on the tank, which is not ideal, but it's all good. All of this needs to be cleaned. This poor bike is disgusting, gross. I don't even know what this is. It's a cool thing. Nice little zip tie. But yeah, that's it. This bike could use a little bit of loving, because as it stands now, she works, but she's not ideal. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask below, because I feel like I have a very intimate experience, very intimate knowledge of this bike. Obviously, some deep down inside the motor things I'm not aware of and I don't know how to deal with, but overall, yeah, this is not bad. This is not bad at all. Alright, well, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon.